Coming up next on We Are Marshall Today, a Marshall University professor is honored for her work with students. We'll introduce her to you.
Plus, how the learning process helps those outside the classroom. These stories and more up next on We Are Marshall Today. Hi, and welcome to We Are Marshall Today. I'm Leah Edwards.
And I'm Dan Hollis. She is known for her enthusiasm for teaching, and more specifically, her enthusiastic teaching of mathematics.
Dr. Bonita Lawrence, or Bonnie as many call her, is known as West Virginia's Professor of the Year.
If you add them up, Dr. Bonita Lawrence has won every teaching award at Marshall University. Add to the equation West Virginia's Professor of the Year award, and the outcome is one very excited professor.
Someone asked the chairman if they thought I was surprised, and he said, "Did you see her response?" Of course she was. I was, because the folks that I was the others that were nominated, these people were fantastic, and we listened to all the wonderful things that they had done. It was amazing, just amazing to be a part of it.
Bonita Lawrence began her teaching career as an assistant professor at Marshall in 2001. Now a full-time professor, she serves as an associate chair of mathematics, and it's a career choice she doesn't regret. She credits her high school math teacher for the inspiration.
The joy and excitement she had for the craft was it was wonderful, and I wanted to have that feeling about it, and it just developed in me. I mean, I don't know that you can want something like that, and I don't know, it just developed.
Dr. Lawrence now inspires the same kind of enthusiasm in her own students.
I call her my math muse. She inspires me. Anytime I'm feeling bad about math, and I'm feeling like, what's the point in all this stuff, she finds a way to bring it up to that next level, and inspires me to like what I'm doing.
Merritt has worked closely with Lawrence and her mathematician husband, Dr. Clayton Brooks, on the Analyzer, which is a kind of early 20th century computer. The DA works as a visual aid for students learning different equations. The project has garnered Lawrence and her team international attention. Lawrence's recent award by the Faculty Merit Foundation of West Virginia is the second time in 3 years a Marshall University professor has been recognized by the group. Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Frances Hensley, says it's indicative of Marshall University's quality faculty.
I think it's a recognition of the excellent teaching at Marshall, the excellent caliber of faculty members that we have at Marshall.
Lawrence won $10,000 with the award, as well as a Blanco Glass trophy. For We Are Marshall Today, I'm Mike Powers.
Congratulations to Dr. Lawrence. Switching gears a bit here, but still talking about academic news, the university is making some big changes to the courses that all students will take. With us to discuss those changes is Chair of the Communication Studies Department here at Marshall University, Dr. Robert Bookwalter. Dr. Bookwalter, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Dan.
In addition to your work with the Communication Studies Department, you're also Chair of the General Education Council. What is that group, and why was it formed?
Well, the General Education Council is a committee of 21 faculty members from across the university who are overseeing our change to the new core curriculum. The group was formed by the provost, Dr. Gail Ormiston, last fall in order to help the transition from our previous general education system to the newly passed core curriculum system.
Well, let's start with some basic questions then. What is a core curriculum?
Well, the true core curriculum is based on a decision by a university that all students who enter and progress towards graduation must take certain classes. In a classic core curriculum case, which is present in some small liberal arts colleges, for example, you might have 4 seminars or 8 seminars where every freshman coming in takes those seminars maybe over the course of their first 2 years, and they will cover something that the university believes are the fundamental areas of knowledge that all students must have in order to be graduates. And then those courses would be taken prior to the students advancing into their majors and then specializing in whatever degree they're in. Our Jaeger program runs a little bit that way. They have 4 fundamental seminars. The students take them in each of their first 4 semesters, and they cover the ground of computer literacy, communication, history, the arts, and so on. The basic areas of knowledge that we think every educated person must have in order to be a college graduate.
Okay, then, well, what will the new core curriculum at Marshall be?
Yeah, the core curriculum for incoming students in the fall is not a pure core. We don't really have the resources to provide a set of specific seminars, a sequence of them, and to provide the instructors and the rooms, and to do this for 2,000 or roughly 2,000 incoming students. So the new core curriculum that we've worked on for the past 3 years and are putting into place focuses on first one core seminar. We call it First Year Seminar, FYS, which will introduce students to the broad areas of knowledge and thinking that apply to any major or any discipline that they might go into. And then it is followed by 2 additional classes that focus on critical thinking, but will be offered by certain, by various departments: communication department, English department, social work, geography. Different departments will offer core critical thinking seminars. And those 3 classes, the first year seminar and the 2 core critical thinking classes that accompany it, make up the center of our course. So all Marshall students will take those classes. If you want me to describe what happens next,
let's talk a little bit more about Core 1. Core
Okay.
1, a critical component is critical thinking.
It's the center of it is critical thinking, and 7 domains of thinking. The new curriculum revolves around the idea that students don't just need to be educated in one discipline or another, in psychology, in engineering, in some particular discipline. There are areas of thinking that we all should master if we're going to be successful, educated people moving forward. Part of the rationale behind that is that people change jobs more frequently. Studies show that people may hold as many as 14 different positions, different jobs, by the time they've been in the work world for 15 or 20 years. And that the jobs, the president often comments about this, the job that many of our graduates will have 10 years from now have not even been invented. They don't exist now because technology and the work world and the economy is changing so rapidly. So the Core 1 curriculum with the first year seminar and the 2 critical thinking seminars, they're meant to work together to introduce students to a set of thinking domains, including artistic thinking, scientific thinking, mathematical thinking, social, historical, ethical thinking, communication in verbal, written, and visual forms, information literacy. Now I know I'm leaving somebody out, and they're international and multicultural thinking, so there's an artistic and aesthetic thinking. So these branches of thinking are things that we have to master and apply critical thinking to in order to see problems that face us in our future, in our careers, in our social world, in our professional lives, and be able to apply an appropriate degree, an appropriate type of critical thinking to those problems and learn to solve them. So I think in order to be more effective, better educated, moving on into our careers and on through until retirement, well, there are many things that we have to understand. So 3 core seminars early in the student's career, in their first 2 or maybe 3 semesters that they're going to cover those 3 classes. And the 3 classes are specially designed to fit together and to reinforce. As under the old system, students didn't necessarily see the connections between the different courses that they took. We can talk a little bit more about that if you like.
Let's talk about Core 2 now.
Okay.
Core 1 has the critical thinking, the first year seminars and 2 critical thinking courses.
Exactly.
What is Core 2?
So Core 2 is a little bit more like the system that we've had in the past and that many schools have, which is it's a bit of a menu. Core 2 is designed around 7 areas where the students will take at least 1 class. Actually, in English composition, they'll take 2 classes. But the idea is that we think students need a science class, communication, oral communication, speaking class, social science class, a humanities, a mathematics, again, I'm going to forget something, fine arts. So there are these areas, in order to be broadly educated, in order to apply critical thinking to the world around them, not just in their chosen career, but in general in their life, their family, their community, that we want Marshall students to be educated in each of those basic areas, at least minimally educated by one course. So there are a group of fine arts courses they can take, a couple of communication classes, a couple of English composition classes, a certain selection of science and humanities and social science classes, so that the students get more variety and they get more choice in those areas.
And this starts this fall?
Starts this fall for all incoming freshmen.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bookwalter. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Dan.
Coming up next on We Are Marshall Today, these may look like plain old laundry baskets, but really they're containers of hope. We'll explain after the break.
It's been kind of boring, just trying to annoy each other, kill the time, kill the boredom.
My company's downsizing. I thought it'd be in my best interest to go back to school. With as busy as I am, commuting was not going to be an option. But with MU Online, I can take classes anywhere.
Nationally accredited, affordable, convenient. MU Online.
Governor Joe Manchin visited Marshall's Huntington campus earlier this month for a special business lecture. The governor delivered the annual City National Bank lectureship to a group of Lewis College of Business students. Community leaders also attended the day's events at the university's new foundation and alumni building.
Marshall University's spring semester is more than half completed. That means graduation preparations for thousands of students. Countdown to Commencement is an annual event geared toward helping students take care of pre-commencement responsibilities. MU Registrar Roberta Ferguson says consolidation of services into one location is beneficial for students.
This gives our graduates an opportunity to come to one location, and different campus offices that have connection with graduation and commencement are here. So it's a tremendous convenience for the graduates to be able to come during this two-day period and take care of all items related to graduation and to the actual commencement ceremony.
Graduating students could order class rings, verify graduation status, order a cap and gown, and even get graduation pictures made during the event. Marshall University will mark its 173rd commencement Saturday, May 8th. Students looking for their first job interview had the luxury of employers looking for them at the annual Educator Expo in March. The career fair is specifically for students hoping to land a teaching job. The networking reception is sponsored by Marshall's Career Services.
While many students are thinking about spring break, some Marshall University students are thinking about a study abroad experience. Marshall University hosted its annual study abroad fair recently. Coordinator Kylie Gallagher says anyone who's interested in a study abroad experience just has to take a few initial steps.
Students can start right now by getting their passport, something easy that you're definitely going to need for any sort of travel overseas. You can definitely start there. You can start collecting books and information, trying to figure out what program you want to go on. And then the best next step is to actually come and talk to me and have an information session with me.
Gallagher says students have the option of studying abroad for a semester, a year, or just a summer. Students with Marshall University's College of Fine Arts recently were busy with brushes and supplies, but it wasn't an art project. The group launched a fundraiser to gather baskets for Branch's domestic violence shelter. Several dozen baskets were collected to help men, women, and children who are victims of domestic abuse. The effort was part of the college's 2010 social justice campaign.
Traditionally, students learn their disciplines in a classroom, and for some careers, that's a perfect course of study. But for others, practical experience is essential.
Counseling and clinical psychology are two of those careers. For a student to graduate and be certified in the state of West Virginia, they must participate in a practicum. Tucked away on a side street and behind this door, there are graduate students providing family and individual counseling, psychological assessment, and other types of testing. Everything occurs under the watchful eye of professors using an electronic monitoring system.
We have patients or clients that come in here. They need to know that they're always going to be in a situation where two heads are better than one. It's not just the student, but it's the student's advisor and the supervisory staff as a whole, which includes both psychology professors and counseling professors.
Dr. Tony Gowdy supervises many of the graduate students. He and others in the departments of psychology and counseling are responsible for teaching students and overseeing their clinical experiences. Graduate student Catherine Sharp says it's a win-win situation for students and their clients.
I know I'm not a professional yet. I know I'm still in training, and knowing that, you know, there are going to be times where I may make a mistake or I may miss something, you know, knowing that somebody is coming up behind me and maybe can catch something and help me do better next time, give me the information that I need to be better. I actually prefer it.
Graduate students like Carrie Webb are required to spend dozens of hours in a clinical setting, which provides a proving ground of sorts.
It fulfills our practicum requirement, which is the experience requirement, so it's not an actual class. We just come in and we get assigned cases, and we set up appointments with our clients, and we do testing, assessments, and therapy, things like that.
Marshall University has 3 psychology clinics. There is one on the Huntington campus, one in Barbersville, and the Dunbar Clinic. For more information, visit marshall.edu/psych. That's marshall.edu/PSYCH. Joining us now to talk more about counseling and psychology in our clinics here at Marshall University is Dr. Robert Rubenstein. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Lee. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
You've been on Marshall's campus or affiliated with Marshall for quite some time. Give us a little bit of background on yourself.
Well, I'm a professor in the counseling program in South Charleston at the graduate college there in the School of Professional Development and Education, and have been there for almost 21 years. Prior to that, I was a teacher and a school counselor in Taylor County in the Grafton area, and so when I came to this area to teach and go into higher ed, what I'm responsible for is the school counseling programs, and then also I have some background in correctional counseling, so I also try to take care of that aspect of the program.
We just saw a story about the clinic in Dunbar. Just real quickly, recap that for us. Who is the clinic for, population it serves, and how do people get in touch with you all?
Well, approximately 17, 18 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Stephen O'Keefe, plus some other faculty from psychology and counseling, what we realized we had a real need for our students prior to them going into their internships, which are their field placements, so that they're actually out in institutions or schools, agencies, and they're actually getting to practice their counseling or psychology skills that they have obtained through the graduate program. We felt there was a real void that prior to that exit kind of piece, that they really didn't get a practice with real life or real situations. Most of the time the training consisted, and it's similar to other universities or colleges that have graduate counseling psychology programs, they were role play in nature, meaning students had to role play situations, whether it was delivering of therapy or assessments and that sort of thing. So we felt that there was a real need to put together a clinic that was based in the community where we could access clients or individuals that would come in and have real mental health needs, so that our students could, again, get practice with their skills with those kind of situations. So we started that clinic about 18 years ago. Another unique aspect was we really wanted to put in a collaborative aspect between the psychology and the counseling students, because we also saw that was a void. Our students went out and did their counseling, and psychology students went out and did their psychology. But in this clinic, they were able to sit and collaborate about cases from the get-go whenever the client came in. So that was a real need, and that story was kind of capturing that, what we try to do there at that clinic. And a neat aspect of that clinic when we designed it was to provide real life, real intense supervision. We have every room is with a camera and also with remote earpiece, so that we can speak to the student as they deliver the service. And again, we provide very intensive supervision with faculty or with licensed or certified credentialed counselor psychologists.
What is the difference between counseling and psychology? We have both of those as majors, but what's the difference?
Well, the real difference is counseling, our students probably get a stronger dose, if you will, of therapy skills, of communication, human relation, interactive kind of skills, where they also get some assessment and diagnostic type courses and skills. The psychology program is probably a little more heavily laden in that area with assessments and understanding the broad scope of those assessments, and also how to then interface those into treatment planning and that sort of thing. And so that's again why we thought it was a really nice idea to have that collaborative nature, so that our students could see the strengths that the psychology students bring, and vice versa. Psychology could see some of the therapy skills and the theory-driven type of counseling that the counseling students would bring in the services to the clients.
When a high school student, or maybe even an undergraduate student, is considering a major, how would they assess whether they should go into psychology or counseling? How do you make that determination?
And that's a great question, because I get asked that a lot. And students will call, or a prospective student will call and say, you know, I'm not sure which one I want to go into. And what I tell them is this: both of them are the people business. You're going to work with people. So first of all, do you like people? And do you like to interact and try to be helpful? And I know that sounds maybe very elementary, but those are the basis, if you will, of the helping professions. Do you have a real interest in interacting with others? And so what I tell prospective students is, one, do you like people? And then if you're trying to decide between the two fields, psychology, again, with the assessments and the testing, there's a lot more report writing. There's a lot more maybe one-on-one with a client, in a sense of giving a test and gathering that data so that you can bring it into a staffing, so you can try to figure out what's the best avenue to go in helping them. In counseling, what I tell folks is, you know, do you have an interest in understanding human behavior from more of an interactive talking kind of component? Can you sit down with people and listen well? Do you have skills that allow you to listen well? And also, do you have good processing skills, and can you be non-judgmental? So although they're very close, and I think that, you know, again, I've seen a lot of counselors get their counseling degree and go get their psychology degree, and vice versa. I tell students initially, you know, what you might want to ask yourself is, where would you see yourself in 15 years? Do you see yourself maybe wanting to do assessments and testing and that sort of more formal diagnostic aspects of the field? Or do you see yourself maybe more of an interactive talker, somebody that will sit down with people, groups, individuals, and try to assist with a variety of issues that people might bring in?
Mm-hmm. Am I correct in assuming that a graduate degree is essential in both of those fields?
Yes, in all states. In West Virginia, I was also a member of the West Virginia Board of Examiners in counseling for a few years, and so I got to really see, was able to see the licensure process, if you will, from firsthand. And so you do need a graduate degree, a master's degree in psychology and in counseling in order to get a license in the state of West Virginia. And that's true also. Some people think of school counseling as being a certification, but it actually is a license that is issued by the State Department of Education. So in this clinic, what we do have, we have clinical psychology students, we have mental health counseling students, we have school psych students at times, and we have school counseling students. And so they get a real variety, if you will, because the school people sometimes say, well, I'm going to work with kids, and you know, vice versa. And so, but we think it's a nice aspect of that clinic. They can see all populations as they build their skills and get ready to exit the program.
We have a fantastic clinic in Dunbar, and we've had the number on the screen so people can get in touch with you. I appreciate you coming in today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, and it's been a great experience.
Good, thank you. And before we go to the break today, let's meet another member of the Marshall University alumni family. Debbie Lewis graduated from Marshall University in 1982 with a bachelor's degree in accounting. She lives in Huntington, where she's employed at Somerville and Company. Debbie Lewis, another member of the Marshall University alumni family, spreading the word about the herd.
From from the classroom straight to your computer.
I teach international marketing online 100%. I conduct this class from my office, from my home, and it is 24/7 available to students across the country. I would say this has been one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences, not only for me, for my students as well.
Nationally accredited, affordable, convenient. MU Online.
My name's Emily, and in 7 years, I'll be an alcoholic. I'll start drinking in 8th grade, but my parents won't really notice because I'll do okay in school and everything will seem okay, but everything won't be okay.
Kids who drink before age 15 are 5 times more likely to have alcohol problems when they're adults. So start talking before they start drinking.
Chad Pennington is known for his great work on the football field, but Leah, he is also making significant contributions off it. His First and 10 Foundation supports many local charities.
Recently, he came to town to hand out some checks and inspire some young people.
We're honored and privileged to have the opportunity to work with the communities within the tri-state area and do everything we possibly can to improve the quality of life. That is our mission statement. And we take great pride in the fact that we're able to have such great supporters and great donors through our foundation. And all we want to be is the vehicle to allow our supporters and donors to use their hard-earned money the way they see fit. There's only one time in your life you can try and experience any type of athletic event or sport, and that's during your childhood. And I think that's so important for all of you young kids. If there is something on your mind that you want to try, that you're curious about, that you go for it. What's it take to be successful? What's the key ingredient? What's the big scientific formula to experience success? I want to be successful. What is it all about? And my answer is really, really simple. To be successful, it's about being one thing, and that's being the best you can be. And you may say, well, Chad, that's not right. That's too simple. That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? What I mean is, in whatever aspect of your life, academically, athletically, socially with your friends, spiritually in your churches, wherever you are at that moment in time, if you will focus on being the best that you can be in the classroom, on the athletic field, at your dance recital, here at the YMCA, with your friends, taking care of one another, making sure each other's staying out of harm's way, wherever that is, if you focus on being the best you can be, you are on your way to success.
Ah, great story. Good guy.
Well, that's it for today's show. Thanks for watching. I'm Dan Hollis.
And I'm Leah Edwards. See you next time.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.